These fools, they'll never learn.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Food for Thought podcast. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, this ain't no Food for Thought podcast because I only see Sean. Yes, you only see me because, bit of unfortunate news. So I knew Cyrus would not be on this episode. I was well aware because he is out of town at the moment. He's jet setting with his lady friends. Not really, he has no lady friends. He has one, and she is my wife. So he's shit out of luck there. No, unfortunately, I lost Cyrus along the way, and I'll be honest with you. I sat down with Devon about an hour and a half ago, and we sat down to watch our film today. My film that I'll be discussing today, and it's the Street Fighter, 1974's Street Fighter, and we got about 30 minutes in, and she was lying on the couch, and her feet were up against my leg, and I could feel her feet twitching. They were kind of twitching, and that only means one thing when Devon starts twitching, and that means she's falling asleep. She twitches when she falls asleep. It's a weird thing. I don't get it. And I knew she was falling asleep, so I nudged her. I paused the film. I nudged her and say, "Hey, are you falling asleep?" She goes, "Yes." I said, "Why?" I didn't say why aggressively like that. I just said, "Why?" And she said, "I don't like this film." She goes, "I'm not enjoying this film." I'm pretty sure she absolutely hated the film. There are numerous reasons why she should hate it, and I think there's a few obvious ones. One being, well, we'll get into that in a minute. I'm not sure I can speak about exactly why it's a bit controversial so early on YouTube. So I'm going to keep it nice and PG for now. So we're covering 1974's. I keep saying we. I'm covering 1974's Street Fighter, the Street Fighter, I should say. I've got all my facts on my phone here, so I'm just going to go through them. Directed by, I'm going to get this wrong, directed by Shigehiro Azawa. Tried. Starring Sonny Chiba, Goichi Yamada, Yutaka Nakajima, and Etsuko Shihomi. Is it Etsuko? I imagine it's Etsuko, right? Not Etsuko. Etsuko. Etsuko Shihomi? See, I'm not a Chinese guy. I was just about to say I'm a Chinese guy. I'm not a Chinese. Believe it or not, I'm not a Chinese guy. I'm a Hong Kong cinema guy and kind of Chinese language guy, Mandarin and Cantonese. I've got a kind of grasp on how to pronounce names, or some of them I still struggle with, I will admit that. And Japanese, lost on me. I'm not very good when it comes to Japanese because I don't watch that much Japanese cinema, believe it or not. That is one area of Asian... Well, I shouldn't say one area of Asian cinema. I've never watched any fucking... I don't know. I don't watch much Thai cinema. I don't really watch much Indonesian cinema. Only the stuff that we all know about. Anyway, some interesting facts about by the way, I need my glasses tightened. They keep sliding down my nose, so I'm going to shove them up. You're going to notice it now more and more. And I'm going to notice every time I do it now, because I keep shoving them up my nose. So I apologize that I keep on doing that. The Street Fighter. It was the first film to get an X rating in the US due to violence. There was plenty of pornography or saucy films prior to this that got X rating, but the Street Fighter was the first film to get one because of violence. And firstly, I find that slightly bizarre because I guess I'm comparing it to modern cinema, right? Modern cinema now, you get things like Terrifier and Terrifier 2, Terrifier 3, that are absolutely outrageously violent. And in my eyes, it was like, okay, they would get an X certificate. But I guess back then, having someone's penis ripped off on screen was kind of X-rated. So I guess, but watching the film, it's not that violent, really. There's probably like 3 major violent acts, right? Ripping of the penis, poking of the eyes, and bashing in the head, skull crush, spit blood. I think they're the only 3 that are really extreme. when it comes to violence. So interesting that it kind of got that recognition. You are going to hear noises outside, by the way. I'm right by a train station, so there's a shitload of trains that go by, so they're very, very noisy. And I can't do this in the other room because that's where Devon is at the moment. So please bear with me. I'm not. I'm a mess when I don't have Devon as a producer. This spawned 2 sequels and 4 Sister Street Fighter spin-off films. For some reason, I thought there was only 3 Sister Street Fighters, but no, there are 4. I just recently bought them. I will go on record as saying something, probably a bit of a hot take here. Sister Street Fighter, way better than the Street Fighter. Sister Street Fighter is far better than this film. And you can quote me on that. You can etch it into my tombstone. The literal Japanese to English title of the film is Clash Killer Fist, which is way better than the Street Fighter. So it should be called Clash Killer Fist here. In the UK, this was released as Kung Fu Street Fighter, which I found very interesting because, obviously, we all know this is a Japanese film. It does not have Kung Fu in it. So Kung Fu Street Fighter is A, weird, B, a little bit racist, I think. So, yeah, a bit questionable there. And, of course, Tarantino loves this film. He named it number 14 in his top 20 grindhouse films of all time. I don't know why Tarantino loves it that much. He like gushed about it in True Romance, right? Sorry, I'm just opening my beverage. I should probably come closer to the mic. Let me see if I can work something out. Hold on. I don't know if I imagine I'm clear, but I'm just. There we go. Come closer. All right, there we go. I should be a bit better now. Yeah, let me move it along so it's in front of my face. Professional, like I said, I am a professional. I'm a professional podcaster. So, the Street Fighter. This is my second time seeing it. I watched it probably about 2 years ago for the first time. And I did a very strange thing. I watched it for the first time. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars on Letterboxd. And then I sold my Blu-ray of it. Do I know why? No, I can't quite remember why. I did the same with Sister Street Fighter. Sister Street Fighter, I gave 4.5 stars on Letterboxd, and I sold my set of Sister Street Fighter films. Again, not sure why. Yeah, it confuses me why I did that, but I bought them again like an idiot. So, but I'm keeping them this time. Now, originally, I obviously rated this film 4 stars, as I said a minute ago. Do I think it's 4-star worthy now after watching it? No, I do not. This film is kind of my jam, but kind of not my jam. No, I shouldn't say that. I like this film. I do like it. I like it quite a bit. I would probably give it around 3 stars now, 3.5 maybe. It is not. I don't know. I don't know what I don't quite like about it. Well, firstly, I'm going to go on record because I think when it comes to this particular aspect of the film, I imagine people either love it or hate it. But Sonny Chiba's aggressive breathing, we've all been there, haven't we, fellas? Aggressive breathing and facial expressions, I am not a fan of at all, to the point of I actually got annoyed when watching it. And I know people might say, well, you know, it's just it's kind of a shtick. They're trying to make him the Japanese Bruce Lee. I get it. It makes perfect sense. And I know how it has, you know, a basis in karate and how, you know, breathing is a big part of that. And I know all about that. That's fine. But I found it slightly frustrating. I don't love that part of it. Obviously, that's a very small part of the film and not a reason why I can just be like, oh, it's a shit film. I can't call it a shit film because of that. It's not a shit film. Again, I like it. But I don't like that aspect of it. And quite frankly, I find it difficult to like Sonny Chiba's character in this film. I don't think his flip from bad to good is strong enough. If you haven't seen the film, Sonny Chiba, a bit rapey. he's a bit questionable. Every time he comes across a woman, he forces an aggressive kiss onto them. Yeah, not great. Not great. I don't like that about him, and he does that multiple times, and then all of a sudden he's like, "Oh, I'll protect the women. I'll be this good guy." So it's a strange flip from bad to good, and if some people like that, that's fine. Again, I know this film's a classic. I know people absolutely love this film, and that's fair. I'm not holding it against anyone. It's just there's certain elements of this film that I don't necessarily love. However, when it comes to the action, I do love the action. I think it's fantastic. I adore it. Even, for 1974, there's some really good stuff going on. There's a move where he does early in the film where he stands on someone's knee to get up on them and then drops a knee on them. It's really, really good. So I like the action in it. I think it's good. I like the plot. I think the plot is complex, but in all the right ways. Early on, there's certain scenes where I'm just like, that's weird. Where did that scene come from? And then it kind of slots together. Etsuko, I'm going to say Etsuko. I'm going to say Etsuko, actually. Etsuko Shihomi's character, her being forced into prostitution and then being saved by her brother. I love that. I love that element of it. I love that it's an interesting side plot. I genuinely like the film. I think it's very good, and I understand why it's a classic and considered a grindhouse classic. Although it's not an exploitation film. Although I guess grindhouse and exploitation doesn't necessarily have to go hand in hand. To be honest, I wouldn't have minded if it was a little bit more of an exploitation film. I was expecting some good old-fashioned Japanese sleaze in this one, and I realize I've not been looking at the camera at all. I've been looking down at my face, and you're here, and I should be looking at you. I apologize. This is probably very frustrating to some people that I haven't been looking at you. I find it quite I find it not frustrating. What am I trying to say? I would like it to be a little bit more sleazy, but I'm a guy who kind of likes sleaze cinema. So, and that's another story. We'll go into that another day. But of course, Devon did not appreciate the sexism in this film. Well, not even sexism, the sexual abuse in this film, or the aggressive forcing a woman to kiss. She didn't like the action at all. She wasn't a big fan. She didn't like his stances either. Not just his breathing and his facial expressions. She does not love his stances, which I guess are a bit strange if you're not used to them. But, I'm willing to bet that she's definitely more a Hong Kong cinema gal rather than a Japanese cinema. When it comes to action, I'm sure she likes plenty of other films that are Japanese. We just haven't got to them yet. So, I guess I should dive into the film. I imagine this episode is going to be pretty short, guys. Although I can talk when I want to. So, we will see. First off, by the way, in the American version of this film, Sonny Chiba's character is called... Sorry, I've got to have a sip. I'm not sponsored. I wish I was. Monster, if you're out there, sponsor me. I'd love a sponsorship. That's great. Well done. Radio silence, good stuff. Sonny Chiba's name in the American version is Terry, which made me think. When I was growing up, I had a friend called Peter. We're not friends now. I had a friend called Peter. His mum was called Terry. Are women called Terry? I don't think I can name... Oh, Terry Hatcher. The actress. Oh, okay. I couldn't name any other Terry. I was thinking of Terrys, and I was just like, there's not many women Terrys, are there? And I began to think that was quite a weird option. She was a weird woman, to be honest. Smoked like a bloody chimney, she did. She must have smoked about 3 packs a day. Grim. And she was called Terry, yeah. So I was just thinking, not many Terrys. Also, if a woman is called Terry, is it short for Teresa? Is she Teresa Hatcher? I'm not going to Google it. Yeah, that was a weird side trip I just went on. But, yeah, Terry. Weird, strange woman. I also had another friend called Damien. This is a true story. I had a friend called Damien. I haven't even started with the film yet. I apologize. I had a friend called Damien. And his mum was overtly... not overtly, kind of too, let's say too. She was too comfortable with her own body and too comfortable with her sexuality. And she would happily walk around the house in a robe with the robe like undone. And as a young gentleman, as a 15-year-old Sean, I saw everything. I saw everything on that woman. Now I look back and think that was strange. She may have needed Child Protective Services called on her. Very odd. Could very well be a sex crime. I'm not sure. But back then, it was kind of cool. And she also had a secret stash of adult magazines. And we used to, obviously, as kids, we used to thumb through them and have a good old time. And then we thumbed through one, and his mum and dad were in the magazine. And his dad had on a very specific kind of mask. It was rubber, and he had a leash on, and it was weird. And yeah, that guy, Damien, grew up to be okay. He grew up to be okay, despite this weirdness. Anyway, that was weird as well. Gets into the film. So first thing, come on now. When do you get to be a karate man? That's what they call people in this film. He's a karate man. Should I be saying karate? Anyway, I'm going to say karate because I'm a Philistine. When do you get to be a karate man? That's the question. My brother, black belt. Right? When are you no longer a black belt as well? My brother was a black belt in karate when he was 15. And shortly after that, he had lots of problems with drugs, didn't go to karate anymore, and just never went back. Is he still a black belt? Like, not legally, but yeah, that's legally. Legally, on a legal document, can he be listed as a black belt still? Or if you don't go to karate for like 10 years, are you no longer a black belt? That's an interesting question. And what makes you a karate man? So, I want to know, is it a black belt that makes you a karate man? If so, my brother at some point, maybe now, is a karate man. Which is kind of awesome. So punching someone in the back of the head can force them to have forced asphyxia. Yeah, interesting technique. So if you do this with your fist and you punch someone hard enough in the back of the head, they'll like half die. Not all the way, they'll half die. That's a clever little thing they do, though. The interesting thing about this film is they don't give you any exposition. They just have a guy in prison who's practicing breathing. They have a priest come in, who, spoiler alert, is Sonny Chiba. But they don't explain they don't explain really what's going on. And they have a fight, and then he gives him forced asphyxia, and then he's about to be executed. So the forced asphyxia causes him to collapse, so they can no longer go through with the execution. Instead, they have to send him to a hospital. Question: if he's going to die anyway by hanging, why send him to a hospital? If he's got asphyxia, which I imagine is similar to asphyxiation, which you often get when you get hanged, and he was about to be hanged. Actually, your neck breaks when you get hanged. Yeah, you don't get asphyxiated, do you? Yeah, no good. Okay, but he's going to die anyway. He's going to fall from the gallows and die. But they go, no. Instead, he's halfway dead. He's 90% dead. Instead, we're going to take him to a hospital, make him better, and then kill him. Sucks for that guy. That fucking sucks. They take him to hospital, give him all these drugs, bring him back to life, bring him back to full health, and they're like, he's like, oh my god, I feel so much better. They're like, yeah, well, let's get you to the gallows because we're about to kill you. Bizarre choice. Although I'm sure it has something to do with ethics, that you can't let a man die, even if you're about to kill him. I don't know. I'm not a doctor in prison etiquette. Let's see, what have we got? I'm looking at my notes, by the way. Let's see, punching someone, asphyxia, taking him to the hospital, stupid. Yeah, I just talk about how Sonny Chiba was a piece of shit in this film. Oh, by the way, I will say this. This is a lot of people's favourite film. Not favourite film, sorry. Favourite Sonny Chiba film. I think it's good. is this weird, though, what I'm about to say? I actually prefer Karate Bullfighter and Karate Bear Fighter. I prefer both of those to this. And a lot of people don't talk about Karate Bullfighter and Karate Bear Fighter. They got a release from Eureka on Blu-ray not that long ago. No one really talked about them. They were just like, oh, some throwaway Sonny Chiba films got released on Blu-ray. I really enjoyed those two films. I thought they were superb. The Street Fighter isn't up there as me. Now, I can't speak to many Sonny Chiba films because I honestly have not seen many. In fact, I think I've only seen Street Fighter, Karate Bullfighter, Karate Bear Fighter, and what's that other one that came out on Blu-ray recently from Eureka? Was it, I'm going to get this so wrong, is it The Executioner or The Executioners? I think there was two of them. I think there was like a double pack. I think I own them somewhere. I can't remember where they are, but I think I own them. I think I watched one of those and I didn't care for it all that much. But I don't think I paid attention properly to it, so I'll have to go back to that one. And that's it for Sonny Chiba. I have not watched many of his films at all. And Etsuko Shihomi, I've only watched Sister Street Fighter. And that's it. Maybe the sequel. And apparently Dragon Princess is the one I need to watch of hers. A lot of people say that's an incredible film. So I need to get around to that at some point. Which I will. Although, I think it's hard to find. Let's see. Yeah, I found this really funny, right? Sonny Chiba... Sonny Chiba kidnaps the asphyxiated guy, ships him off to Hong Kong. And then I found it really funny because Sonny Chiba's watching, or Terry, I should call him Terry. Who's texting me? Oh, Devon's texting me. Maybe. Sorry, she's texting me about the podcast. Sorry. She's asking if I want her to join me for listener questions, and I'm not sure yet. Terry's watching TV, and an announcement comes on TV, and the announcement is the father, the multi-millionaire, possibly billionaire father of a lady, has passed away, and that's announced on the TV, right? On a news program on the TV. We fast forward, and the daughter of that billionaire is being told that her father has recently passed away. So the news stations announced it quicker than she was told. That is not a good system. That is a very poor system where, CNN tells you that your father died, basically. That's not great. Not great. I would be very upset if that were me. Let's see. I've got to mention it. Watching SA scenes. That's sexual abuse. I'm not sure how much I can say that on YouTube, but the questionable antics. Watching them sat next to your wife can be a very odd experience. That one with Etsuko Shihomi, and it's not graphic, you don't see anything, but it's very prolonged and very violent, and I was sat there feeling, I don't often feel awkward when watching films. I can watch sex scenes are easy, things like that, violence I'm fine with, but like those, like violence towards women of that nature, not fun. Even the forced kisses made me feel awkward. Probably because I know that Devon absolutely despises that stuff, and so she should, as a woman. But she can't tolerate that in films either. She gets quite aggressive about it. Let's see. I found this quite funny as well. I got very few notes, to be honest. This is just going to be a throw around session where I just bat around ideas. So a guy offers to hire Terry, Sonny Chiba, for a job, and the job is to kidnap a lady, and he offers 3 million yen to Sonny Chiba. You know what the equivalent is of today's money? $32,000. He offers him $32,000 to kidnap a woman. I'm not sure that's enough. I think I would need a smidgen more in order to kidnap someone. maybe 35 or something. I probably shouldn't be having an energy drink. It's 5 p.m. Not the best time to have an energy drink, to be honest. But, you gotta do what you gotta do. What else we got? Yeah, I think the plot comes together really, really well, and I think, what am I trying to say? The film moves on. The film is paced very well. I think there are moments where it falls into, I wouldn't say a lull, but kind of quieter moments. But I think it makes up with it with a frequent enough action beat. And the action is usually at a decent length and quite enjoyable. I'd like to see if, so there's, I won't name them by name, just in case they don't want me to, but there is a person in the Kung Fu cinema community, or I should say Asian cinema community, and he's watching the Street Fighter for the first time. And I'd love to hear his reactions, because it seems like in 2024, people watching the Street Fighter for the first time, it could be an odd experience for them. It might not be something that sits very, very well for them, because they may say, it's aged badly. And I'm not so sure the film's aged badly. I think it's quirky in its own way, but I don't think it's necessarily aged badly. I think it's kind of a typical grindhouse action film that works really well for what it is. It's breezy as well. It's 90 minutes exactly. It's 90 minutes and 45 seconds long. Nice and breezy, nice and easy to get through. Like I said, the action is frequent enough to enjoy. And I don't know, I imagine people struggling with it in 2024 when, the year of, or the era of, your John Wicks. Oh, by the way, pretty sure this film influenced John Wick, the first John Wick film, for example, or many other films, I should say. That fight in the rain at the end that seems very iconic to me. Now, I don't know if that's the first ever rain. I know it wasn't the first ever rain fight, but in the kind of a martial arts setting and that style, very dark and drizzly and very intense. I imagine that influenced quite a few films and quite a few scenes, especially the end of the first John Wick. I feel like it's very, very similar, like in tone, intensity, brutality. Yeah, I like it a lot. That finale is pretty damn decent. Yeah, I think also there should have been more nunchucks in this film. I will say that. The nunchucks are used very, very briefly, which was a shame. And also Psy. I like a pair of Psy. I'd love to see more Psy fights. Not sci-fis. Not sci-fi films. Fights with Psys. I'd like to see more Psy fights in the future, because you don't get enough of them. Now that we've seen John Wick use nunchucks in films, can we see what's her name? What's her bloody name? The new woman in new woman. That makes no sense. The woman in Ballerina that's coming up. Ana de Armas? Amadeus. Sorry, I made myself laugh by saying Amadeus. What a dick. Sorry. Ana de Armas. Yeah, it'd be cool if she could use some size. Or if they made like a new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles film and they use size more frequently. Because Mutant Mayhem didn't quite deliver on the action front. I mean, it's good. I enjoyed it, but didn't quite deliver on the martial arts. Yeah, so that's really, this film is very easy to talk about, but there's not much to talk about. I mean, I could talk about the difference between early Japanese martial arts in film compared to early Hong Kong style fights, but if you think about it, they're very, very similar. This film was made in 1974. If you think about films from Hong Kong or Taiwan in 1974, this was before even Shaw Brothers films. Take something like Five Shaolin Masters, which was that 75? I think that was 75. Maybe I should Google it, but I'm not going to. The Shaolin Temple was 76. Anyway, around that era, if you look at those films, what are they known as being? Known as being like a Chinese boxer, one-arm boxer. They're known for being bashers, what we call bashers in the community. You know, you get your shapes and you get your bashers. And when I was growing up, I used to absolutely detest bashers. I would never ever watch them. I thought they were clunky and heavy-handed, and it didn't pop. There wasn't style to it. These days, I love a good basher. I really enjoy a basher film. I went back and watched, when they released it on Blu-ray, I watched The Chinese Boxer. I absolutely love that film. I also was One-Arm Boxer as well. Please get us One-Arm Boxer 2, which, otherwise known as Master of the Flying Guillotine. Get us Master of the Flying Guillotine on Blu-ray. We're all clamoring for it, so please, someone put it out. But bashers, I actually really enjoy these days. So I think I was very lucky in that I watched Hong Kong cinema. I love shapes. I loved shapes growing up. I love shapes now. But looking back, I was, looking back at my teenage years, I'm trying to say, I didn't enjoy bashers, but I've come to really enjoy them. So when I'm watching Sonny Chiba films now, I'm very lucky because I've got that familiarity with basher films, and that I think that the style is very similar. It's not necessarily clunky with Sonny Chiba, but it's more, I don't know what the word is. There's more like thudding, less exchanges, definitely less exchanges. It's not like, pap, 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 and then the hit comes. Not like like 12 blocks and then a punch. It's more like a 2 block and then a punch, or, a one single block and then a chop or something like that. It's not very complex in the exchanges. The moves look cool, and there's plenty of, power behind it, but I think I'm lucky to have gone back and watched a bunch of bashers and really enjoyed them. I'd like to see more bashers actually released. I believe one got recently released in Germany on Blu-ray, and that is it Bloody Fist or Blood Fist? I think it's Bloody Fist. And the Chansing film, I might just be making shit up now. I think it's got Chansing in it. It got released on German Blu-ray, and that's one of the best bashers ever made, and I was going to pick it up, and unfortunately it's meant to be a very shoddy copy. It's not meant to look good at all, so I did not pick it up. So hopefully one day we'll get to see more bashers released in the Western world, although, I know that they're not many people know of very famous or iconic bashers. I imagine the closest you get to that is kind of early Angela Mao stuff, I suppose. And even then, that's not really basher stuff. Just like I mentioned Shaw Brothers from 75 and 76. It's not real basher stuff. It's, Lau Gao Leung with Zhang Jie. He'd really come into his own in kind of mid-70s. And it's that weird era where he's kind of not bashery anymore, but he's not quite shapes. He's kind of just almost getting there, and it's this middle ground, and I absolutely love it. I love that era. Let's say 74 to like probably 77, where there were ideas. It felt like there were ideas forming, and it was very much like an era of brainstorming. And then I think in 77, 78, they really hit their stride with shapes. And, still in 76 and 75, you're still getting animal styles. Look at Heroes 2, right? The finale of Heroes 2 is phenomenal. It's so, so good. And, you've got your animal styles and you've got your exchanges, but they're not the same rhythm as shapes. I mean, they could probably be considered shapes. I'd have to ask the shapes kings in the community. But I don't know, in my eyes, they're not quite. But I think, it was an era of working things out, and then probably around 77, and then, of course, 78 was a wonderful year for shapes. Also, let me ask a question to you guys. Obviously, if you've gotten this far through my ramblings, what's your favorite year for Kung Fu cinema? Martial arts cinema, let's say martial arts cinema, and let's not limit it to Kung Fu. What's your favorite year, one single year for martial arts cinema? I saw recently my good buddy, Martial Arts 3, if I could say his name, Martial Arts Theatre 3000. Go and check out his channel. He's also a co-host with me on the Masked Avengers podcast. He actually released a whole video about his favorite year in Kung Fu cinema, and that was 78. And I slightly disagreed with him. 78, I mean, he nailed it. He talked about all the 78 films, and 78 was top tier, an absolute quality year. But I think I'm a 79 guy. I think I'm more of a 79 guy. I just feel like a lot of the independents really came out in 79. What, Mystery of Chess Boxing, Seven Commandments of Kung Fu. Yeah, was World of Drunken Master 79 or was that 78? A lot of the good independent studio stuff, granted, all right, I understand 78, Drunken Master, Snake in the Eagle Shadow, Warriors 2, but I think 79 was a really good year. So what's your favorite year? Do you have a favorite year in martial arts cinema? And, maybe it was 95 for you, or 94. 94 was a hell of a year. Drunken Master, Wing Chun, and Iron Monkey in 94. That's a hell of a year. I'm sure there's many, many more. Oh, no, Drunken Master 2. Did I say 2? I think I said Drunken Master 1. Drunken Master 2. 94 was a hell of a year. So I think I'd love to hear opinions about what your favorite year is, because I'm sure they'll vary. And if you are talking about your favorite year, give me examples. Like what came out that year that you really, really love. Because I genuinely love to hear them, and quite frankly, I might do a video on my favorite year, or at least talk about the best years of Kung Fu cinema, or martial arts cinema. I keep saying Kung Fu cinema. I say that because I'm more familiar with Kung Fu. I've gone off the rails a bit, but I think I've talked enough about this film, especially with me just lonesome. I do like the film. I think it's good. It's just not my favorite martial arts film. And maybe I'm missing something, because I'm looking at Letterboxd reviews and it's 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars across the board, and I'm not quite on that same page, and maybe I'm missing something. I don't know. Maybe I'm too much in a shapes mindset, or a kung fu mindset. I don't know. But maybe the more I watch Japanese martial arts cinema, which I know nothing about, the more I'll get used to it and kind of begin an admiration for it. I've got all the Zatoichi films. I've got all them over there, and I've never watched the Zatoichi films. I think I've watched 2 of them, and it kind of sucks, because I was actually bought that set by someone in the community, which I'll forever be grateful for. And I didn't get around to watching all of them, but maybe I should start. Maybe I should watch Zatoichi films. But I have seen Lone Wolf and Cub, and they will forever be, they are wonderful. Let's go ahead and get into listener questions. Let me give Devon a shout. Devon? Yeah? Do you want to join me for listener questions? She should edit this out, really. Oh, she's going to have to come real close to the mic. We're going to try and share a mic. I apologize if this doesn't work well. This is shoddy podcasting. I don't even know how long I've been going for. I've been going for 40 minutes. Jesus Christ. Sorry, this is just warbling. Warbling? I think warbling's singing. Are you coming? Jesus.
Sorry.
Come on in.
How are we doing it?
I don't know. Oh. Pull yourself up a pew. Can you get on video?
Oh, this lighting is terrible.
Oh, yeah.
Sean.
Well, it's been okay with me. Okay, guys, so we had to edit for a moment. Devon came in. We reshuffled and kind of moved around and tried to make things better and tried to give her a lighting source. And, it didn't work. So, it didn't work. So she has left the room, left the building. She hasn't. She's in the other room. That didn't work. I apologize. But I'm still going to answer some of the questions that were asked. Mr. Walls and Phil, by the way, I will say that I've already answered these questions. I forgot to hit record, so I'm doing these again. So I'm probably going to be lighter and breezier. Mr. Walls and Film Combat Syndicate say, who would you have play Terry in a modern reboot of Street Fighter, and who would direct it? Film Combat Syndicate would his version would star Junichi Okada from the Fable 1 and 2. Confession here, I have not seen the Fable 1 or 2. They're on my list. I really want to see them, but I haven't seen them yet. And Mr. Walls asks, what would the tone of the movie be? So I'm thinking of a Hollywood remake, right? Japanese remake would be too tough for me because I don't know that much about modern Japanese cinema. I apologize. So a Hollywood remake. So Timo, right? He's the king of action right now. Timo Johanto, who directed The Shadow Strays, Headshot, The Night Comes For Us. He's the king of action at the moment, pretty much. I'd have him direct. Who would star in my version of Street Fighter? I'm going for a Hollywood actor, right? Hollywood actor who can play gruff, who can play brutal. You might need to pack on just a few pounds, get a bit more muscular. Andrew Koji. That's what I'm going for. Andrew Koji. What would the tone be? Like exploitation violence level. I would want super violence. I would want it dark. I don't want it to be funny. I don't want it to be like Timo's usual stuff. His stuff is so ultra violent, but it's very serious. That's what I want in this. Very, very serious levels of violence, very bloody and gross, but played dead straight. So that'd be my version. John, I think that would be incredibly dope. Let's see. Bemvin Damizade. That was a guess. I swung for the rafters there. Swung for the rafters? Is that the term? It's a baseball term. I don't fucking know baseball. I swung for the... Yeah. Anyway, I attempted. What can you say about the Sonny Chiba fight style in this film, or the fight scenes in general? Well, I spoke about them earlier, but one thing I do want to mention is the interesting hand poses that he had. He's very... And there's such a intense, like... He brings in all his potential energy and then pops it out, and it's very ferocious and very... Just so many scenes of like limbs shaking because he's so pent up, and I like that. It suggests a lot of power and a lot of like kind of energy, and I find that kind of cool because you don't often get that in like kung fu films. Kung fu films are very, just let it all out at all times. But yeah, Sonny Chiba just he brings it all in and then releases it, and I kind of like that. And as for the fight style, I very much enjoyed it. Again, not my favorite Chiba film, but it does make me want to watch more Chiba. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of his films. I don't know which ones I should go for. I believe he's in one called... I think I've got it, but I haven't watched it. And I don't even know where it is. Is it Samurai Reincarnation? Resurrection? I'm probably getting that wrong. Well, I believe he's in one of those, and it's meant to be very, very good. I think I own it, but I just haven't watched it yet. So, hopefully I can get around to more Sonny Chiba. Leon, I'm going to answer yours on another episode, fella. I really, really appreciate it. Yeah, I really, really appreciate it, but I want to answer it with Devon when she's back. So, I'll hold off on that. But thank you for your question. Martial Arts Film Freak, I've got to postpone yours as well because it's basically for Devon. Yeah, I apologize. A gentleman called Popper Chubby Chub, I will repeat that, Poppy Chubby Chub, who I hope is Popper. It's written Popper Chubby Chub. I hope it's not a joke that's Popper Chub, Popper Erection. I hope it's not that. I hope he just generally goes around calling himself Popper Chubby Chub, because it's similar to Big Popper Pump, which me and Cyrus both love. If you don't know Big Popper Pump, a wrestler called Scott Steiner, a professional wrestler, WWE, used to call himself Big Popper Pump, and it's the best name ever. He says, how do you feel about the current state of the art, CGI versus live action? Look, CGI is good. CGI is necessary. We are in 2024, and in order to make cinema that is progressive, visually progressive, then we have to bring in CGI. It's just a must, right? Do I love it? I think it's overused. I think it's badly used. and I am sick to death of it looking bad. Especially with, I don't want to say this because everyone makes this everyone moans about this, but I'm going to anyway. Marvel films. Marvel films, everything is CGI. Everything. The backgrounds, the foregrounds, the people, everything. And funny enough, if you don't follow the channel on YouTube, Corridor Digital, and I know they're controversial. I know the whole AI thing. Not a lot of people don't like their stance on AI. But I was watching a video of theirs today when they were talking about CGI. They talk about special effects in films, and they went over Deadpool and Wolverine. Deadpool and Wolverine has very good CGI. I know a lot of people complain about the coloring, how it looks drab, but the CGI is superb, and it really works well within the context of the film. But other films, for example, last night, me and Devon watched The Marvels. We rewatched The Marvels. And it's just a CGI fest. Everything is CGI. And I'm tired of films being that, which is why I was disappointed slightly. I still loved it and still gave it 5 stars, but I'm slightly disappointed with Furiosa. Furiosa was a fantastic film, but I feel like Mad Max Fury Road did things way more practical, and Furiosa relied way too heavy on CGI. And it took away from the film. I think it took away from the film a little bit. Mad Max Fury Road is incredible because of all the stunt work and all the physical, practical stuff. And I don't know. As for this, I will say what I don't like is this trend. We need to get rid of this trend right away. This trend of remaking animated films through live action. It's such a shitty idea. I get it. I mean, they look cool. I watched the How to Train Your Dragon, whatever it is, trailer earlier today, the live action one. All right, I get it. It's cool, but we've seen it all before. It's exactly the same as the cartoon or animated version. Like, there's nothing different about it. So why bother? Moana. Why are you remaking Moana? Like, what are you doing? What's the point? It's just a waste of money. Now, did I like The Little Mermaid live action? Yeah, I kind of did. But it's pointless. It's exactly the same. We've seen same songs, same themes, same everything. We've seen it all before. You could take how much is the Moana live action going to cost? What, $200 million? You could take that $200 million and make like a whole bunch of, $15 million films, $20 million films, whatever, and you could make quality films. Like, why tell stories that haven't been told before? Or if you are going to tell stories that have been told before, tell them uniquely. Don't do it like shot for shot, but in live action. I don't know. I don't like it very much. CGI is it's badly used. It's badly used in a lot of things. Marvel films didn't used to look like. I mean, everyone talks about it, but Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier is grounded. Obviously, it has CGI in it, but it's so good. It's so good. I think it uses it not necessarily sparingly, but right. It uses it correctly. Civil War uses it correctly as well for the most part. But some films are just, too much. With that said, though, I love Avatar and Avatar 2. I thoroughly enjoy them both. And they are, a perfect mesh of live action and CGI. But that's James Cameron. James Cameron knows what he's doing. He's a fantastic director and he knows exactly what to do. So, also, let's get rid of CGI, blood, gunshots, blood squibs. Just use practical squibs. I know they cost more. I know they take more time, but practical squibs look way better. Practical violence looks way better. I know I've mentioned this film already in this video, but Terrifier. Let's talk about Terrifier films for 1 second. If you haven't seen Terrifier, Terrifier 2, and Terrifier 3, they're not for everyone. They're rather violent. If you don't understand what I'm saying, they are the most violent films you've ever seen, trust me. If you're not a horror fan and you're not a gore fan, do not watch them. But all the violence in most of the violence in them is done practically. Insane, excuse me, insane levels of gore, just brutal, horrible gore, but it's all done practically. And it looks fantastic. It looks real. It looks visceral. But seeing CGI stuff, it just doesn't work. If you're going to use CGI stuff for violence, for action, use it sparingly, right? Like, you know, you'll see moments of CGI in the John Wick films. It works really, really well. Why? Because the majority of it is practical. Is like you know, standard CGI less action. And I just think we need to lean more towards that. I think just CGI is clogging our vision, or clogging our brains, and kind of we expect everything to be big and special, and just let's watch some smaller stories. Let's just sit down and watch some good original films. Not everything has to be Marvel. Not everything has to be Star Wars. Do I love Marvel? Yes, I do. And I've watched everything that Marvel have put out. Literally everything. But, well, actually, I didn't watch season 2 of What If. Sorry. I'm professional. Yeah, I didn't watch season 2 of What If, but I've watched everything else. I enjoy most of what they do. And, yeah, I've watched all Star Wars as well, but not everything has to be there. Sometimes just like we just need to enjoy some smaller stuff. Even if it's action, it can still be action. It can still be big action. Nothing wrong with that. But big action can be made for small amounts of money. Watch Extraction. You know, Sam Hargrave's Extraction. Fantastic film. It didn't cost $200 million to make. You know, watch Timo's films. They didn't cost $200 million to make. You know, so we don't necessarily need that. We need to take a step back from CG. But I know it's the future. And so is AI. You know, as much as I hate talking about it because it's bullshit, AI is going to come into everything. And it's going to be used. And there's nothing we can do about it. And I hate it, but one day it's going to be used too much. Too much. And it's going to ruin cinema. I don't mean that. You'll always have creative minds making, like, great films. No matter what. I don't believe that, you know, I don't believe it's an age of Skynet where the computers will take over and you'll have no human directors anymore. I believe cinema is always going to be cinema. Especially now, actually. Oh my God, I'm going on a rant here. I'm so sorry. But especially now, because if you notice, these big films, they're making less and less and less money. Because people are getting bored of them. You know, people talk about superhero fatigue. People are getting bored of just big action films or just big expensive films. And people don't seem to be wisening up to bad cinema as well. You know, how much did the Joker make, the first Joker film? Like 1.6 billion or some shit? And then look at the new one, it made $20. And, you know, people are wisening up. People are going, hey, I don't like this. I don't want to see this. And they're paying attention to stuff that they're actually going to enjoy, not stuff that is just tied to a property. You know, people go, oh, Superman, it must be good. We're not doing that anymore. We're not going Superman, it must be good. Spider-Man, this is going to be great. No, we're watching trailers, we're paying attention, and we're going, oh, that Spider-Man film doesn't look very good. That's what we're doing now, more and more. And it's not cool that these studios are not making money, because we need studios to make money to make better films, but it's also cool that everyone's waking up to the fact that like not everything is good, not everything big and tied to an IP is good. Yeah, it's just, and I'm excited for that. I think the more people that wake up to many different aspects of cinema, and the more people that watch, you know, The Outrun. I haven't seen The Outrun yet, but I hear it's superb. And I'm desperate to see it. So the more people that watch The Outrun, you know, a small, you know, Saoirse Ronan film, and less, I don't know, whatever the big CGI film is. Oh, actually, the big CGI film out right now is Gladiator 2, and I'm going to watch the shit out of that. I love the idea of Gladiator 2. I'm going to watch the hell out of it. I've heard mixed reviews, but I do want to see it. But yeah, I don't know. I think we're going towards both bad, and for the audience, I think we're going towards a good time. Meaning in general, we're going to get more appreciation for cinema. But there's also bad times because I think the studios are still going to churn out the bullshit and we're all going to watch it. And some of us will go, I'm tired of this. You know, eventually I will. I'm a little bit tired of superhero films. And, you know, we will say we're tired of this. But some of us will go, bring it to me. Yumma, 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 yumma. And we'll just gobble it down like we always do. Wow, that was a rant. I was waiting on for way too long, so I apologize. But that's my thoughts on CGI. Rama, I'm going to leave your question for when Devon's back, because I think that's an important question to ask her. So, a little bit of news. So, maybe the next episode will also be without Cyrus. That's the way it looks at the moment, I believe. But hopefully Devon will be back, and I'm trying to pick a film that Devon will enjoy. I'm finding it very, very difficult. The next film I wanted to do was Patrick Tam's The Sword, the Adam Cheng film. I think she would like that. I think she'll enjoy that one, so I might do that. If not, I'm leaning more towards like a modern film that I can do with her. But which one do I pick? I don't want to pick 100 Yards. Because I just did a review for that for the channel. So, I don't know. Anyway, let's wrap it up here. I've talked for too long. Just to let you guys know that in a week's time from now, the new episode of Masked Avengers will be out. No, not Masked Avengers. I'm so wrong. I keep getting our podcast name wrong. It's Mic'd Avengers. The new episode of Mic'd Avengers podcast will be out a week from today, hopefully. Fingers crossed, if all things go well. And I can't reveal the movie yet. We haven't revealed the movie on social media yet. But I will tell you this. It's a T. Lung film. I'm just going to put that out there. It's a T. Lung Shaw Brothers film. That's all I'm saying. All right. Yeah, I'll let you all know what the next Food for Thought episode is. I'll let you know when it's launching, or when it's going to be out. Not launching. Keep checking the channel. I'm going to be releasing more videos. I've got some interviews lined up with people that I'm going to have a chat with, some really interesting conversations, and I'm actually going to drop more reviews and things like that. I'm also doing a Blu-ray kind of catch up, and I have bought a shitload of Blu-rays lately, so I'm looking forward to kind of talking about those. So like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I love you. Please comment. I like responding to all the comments. I have a great time chatting to you guys. You have some very cool stuff to say. And remember, put your favorite year of martial arts cinema down in the comments. And yeah, that's it. Thank you so much, and I'll catch you next time.